Every year in the Alps, dozens of people don't make it back from their journeys, and hundreds spend months recovering from injuries. The reasons are usually the same: slipping on ice, sudden whiteouts, exhaustion, or just misreading the terrain. The Tour Ronde stands at just under 3,800 meters, a classic route in the Mont Blanc massif. Up to 3% of groups can't make it to the finish. The Glacier du Géant is always changing: falling rocks, bare ice patches, narrow couloirs, and snow bridges that hold together in the morning but can collapse by afternoon. When late May brings abnormal warmth, the snow softens even faster. For Karine Ruby, problems like these were never just theoretical. She was an Olympic champion with 67 World Cup victories, training to become a mountain guide. She chose alpinism not for the records, but for the craft, leading people up, and more importantly, bringing them home. But it's the weight of that responsibility that brought her onto Tour Ronde on a warm afternoon, right as the glacier structure was beginning to shift. They were at about 3,300 meters, nothing out of the ordinary, a regular route, 2 clients, employees from a major oil company, tied in the same rope team. Everything felt stable, right up until the moment the terrain started acting differently. And that's when tragedy struck. This is a story about how even the best aren't immune, about how, in the mountains, nobody's invincible, and anyone can be caught off guard at any time. But let's go back to the very start. January 4th, 1978. In the small town of Bonneville, on the eastern edge of France, right at the foot of the Alps, a baby girl is born. Her name is Karine Ruby. She has no idea that 20 years from now, she'll be a global snowboarding legend. For now, she's just a kid who's learning to walk, not on flat floors, but in snow. By age 1, Karine's already on skis. In Haute-Savoie, this isn't some weekend getaway. It's a place where the mountains are part of everyday life. Winters last half the year, and the snow's packed so deep, it's like it's always been there. The Ruby family is all about sports, not just the Saturday afternoon in the pool kind. They live for risk, speed, and adrenaline. Karine has an older brother, Jerome. He's into free riding, then moves on to ski-based jumping. That's skiing off cliffs with a parachute. That's the kind of thing where there's no room for error. Karine watches him, learns by example. She's drawn to pushing limits too. As a teenager, she goes on mountain hikes, summits peaks, and skis down wild slopes, all while training for competitions. The mountains aren't a backdrop. They're home. They're where she feels alive. Then, in 2004, Karine faces real loss for the first time. Jérôme's close friend, the freerider André-Pierre Dédé Rem, dies in a snowboarding accident. The Ruby family is devastated, so is Karine, but she doesn't quit. She doesn't walk away from the sport. She keeps going, holding on to that French joie de vivre, that zest for life, the very thing the French Prime Minister would later mention in her eulogy after Karine's own tragedy. The mountains take people. Karine knows this, and still she keeps coming back, again and again. When Karine is 11, Jérôme brings home a snowboard, a new, bold, rebellious thing. Back in the 90s, snowboarding wasn't even an Olympic sport yet. It was more like a rebellion, a full-on subculture. Karine looks at the board and just goes, "Let me try." First run, second run, third. She falls, gets back up, keeps going. And that's the moment. She gets it. This isn't skiing, all precise and classic. Snowboarding feels like pure freedom. You pick your own line, decide how to take every turn. If you mess up, you eat it, hard. Karine races ahead, fast. Not just fast, but in a whole different gear. By the time she's 17, she's already competing on the international stage. Think about that. 6 years from her first ever ride to making the French national team. Most kids are just starting to dream of a sports career at that age. She's already living it. November 1994, Karine is 17. She shows up at her very first World Cup event, and she wins, right out of the gate, just like that. The best snowboarders in the world look at this French girl and realize there's a new star in town. And she doesn't seem interested in slowing down. Giant slalom is where she starts, racing down a course with gates, all about speed and precision and reading the mountain as you go. Then she adds parallel slalom to her skill set, 2 riders side by side. First to the bottom wins, and it's all about being faster, bolder, more aggressive. Later, she moves into border cross. Now, that's a story of its own. 4 riders squeezed onto one tight course loaded with jumps and crazy turns. You're guaranteed to bump into someone. Crashes just come with the territory. Speed isn't enough there. You have to be tough. Here's the cool thing. Even while she's crushing it in competition, Karine keeps riding off-piste. Free riding, wild slopes, deep powder, no gates, no judges, just her and the mountain. She never forgets why she started. She doesn't become some win-at-all-costs machine. Snowboarding to her is more than medals. It's a way to just be in the mountains. Her reputation starts to shape itself. Fearless? Absolutely, but not reckless. Disciplined? For sure, but not uptight. She's willing to take risks, but she knows exactly when to push and when to hold back. That balance is rare. Most riders play it too safe or go completely off the rails. Karine finds that sweet spot right in the middle. People in the snowboarding world start to mention her name more and more. Ruby, Mumoon, her friends call her. The girl from the Alps who rides like she was born with a board on her feet. 1998, Nagano, Japan, the Olympics. This is the first time snowboarding makes it into the games. A huge moment. Karine Ruby is 20. She stands at the top of the course for the giant slalom, and she knows this is it, now or never. She starts her run. Gates. Speed. She nails the course. Hard, clean, no mistakes. She crosses the finish line, looks up at the scoreboard. Gold. The first ever Olympic gold medal in women's snowboarding. Not second, not third, the very first. Forever. Her name goes straight into the history books. Karine Ruby, Olympic champion. At just 20 years old. Can you imagine? Not only did she win, she made history. She's the one everyone will look back to. But she doesn't stop. 4 years later, Salt Lake City, 2002. The Olympics again. This time, it's parallel slalom. Karine pushes hard, goes all the way, takes silver. Some people might say, hey, that's not gold. But that's a second Olympic medal. That's proof. She's the real deal. Over her career, she became a 6-time world champion. That's right, 6 times. She won the World Cup over and over again. Honestly, those numbers just start to feel unreal. 67 World Cup victories. 122 podium finishes. And this isn't just some dry list of stats. This is pure domination, the kind we almost never see in the history of snowboarding. No one did it before her, and no one's matched it since. The New York Times wrote about her, calling her the greatest snowboarder in the world. Not just one of the best period. International reporters covered every race she entered. She basically became the face of the whole sport, a living legend. In snowboard circles, everyone knew her as Mumoon, a nickname that just feels close and personal. She never put up walls or acted like some untouchable superstar. Mumoon was one of the gang, the kind of person you could grab a drink with after a race, chat about the course, share a laugh. In the early 2000s, Karine Ruby wasn't just an athlete, she was a symbol. Snowboarding in France was exploding in popularity, and she was right at the heart of it. Whole generations of riders looked at her and thought, I want to be like that. Young girls grabbed their boards, hit the slopes, and kept repeating to themselves, just like Mumoon. She made them believe. She proved that you could be strong, fast, fearless, and win over and over. But sports have this harsh reality. Sooner or later, everyone has to step away. And Karine understood that. Tour Ronde, 2006. It's the Olympics, and Karine lines up for snowboard cross. It's her 3rd Olympics. She's already a legend, her name already etched into history. But sports don't forgive weakness, or age, or a moment of hesitation. She misses the final, that's it. No drama, no crash, just someone who was faster, younger, hungrier. Karine is 28. In snowboarding, that's not exactly young anymore, and she gets it. It's time. A few months later, she announces her retirement from the top level, at the peak of her fame. While her name is still everywhere, while journalists still write about her as a champion, not as someone trying desperately to hang on. She leaves on her own terms. But here's the thing. Karine has no intention of leaving the mountains behind, none at all. She makes a decision that shocks a lot of people. She decides to become a mountain guide, a climber, someone who literally leads others to the top. Just imagine that. An Olympic champion, 6-time world champion, with 67 World Cup wins, saying, I want to start from scratch. I want to learn all over again. Not sit at home with a stack of medals. Not go on TV talking about the old days. Not open a ski school with her name on the sign and just show up for photos once a month. No, she wants to be in the mountains, for real. A lot of people don't get it. Why? She has everything: fame, money, respect. She could just take it easy, live a comfortable life. But Karine chooses mountaineering, and that's even riskier than snowboarding. There are no judges, no medics on standby, no helicopters ready at the start. It's just you, the mountain, and clients who've put their lives in your hands. Not many Olympic champions are up for something like that. Most go for comfort: coaching, broadcasting, business. Karine is heading into the mountains. She's going where it's cold, where it's risky, where you have to prove yourself all over again. Not as a star, as a beginner. But for her, it's not some kind of break. It's more like coming home. Back to the roots, back to how things were before the medals, before the podiums. Back to that childhood dream, remember? On skis before she could even walk. Out on hikes with her brother. Skiing off-piste, away from the marked trails. The mountains were there first, before the fame, before Nagano gold. And now, she's coming back. But this time, it's different. Not as a tourist, not as an athlete. She's coming back as a pro, someone who knows the mountains from the inside out, and who's ready to take responsibility for others. Karine enrolls at the National School of Skiing and Alpinism in Chamonix, ENSA. It's basically the top guide school in Europe, and now, a whole new chapter begins. She shows up to class just like everyone else. Backpack, ropes, carabiners. No special treatment, no extra perks. Olympic gold doesn't count for anything here. At ENSA, it doesn't matter who you were yesterday. What matters is what you can do right now. Karine takes on climbing, ice routes, rope work, knots, belaying, rescue drills, mountain navigation, how to read the terrain, predict the weather, choose the safest route. This isn't snowboarding. You can't just go faster. Here, you have to think, you have to plan ahead, you have to feel the mountain. She's learning alongside everyone else, just an ordinary student. Nobody's cutting her any slack. She doesn't ask for it either. She's up at 5 in the morning for training, heading for the glacier, climbing walls, falling, trying again, blisters on her hands, sore muscles, biting cold. But she doesn't quit. It's the spring of 2008. Karine takes her final ENSA exams and passes. Now she's an aspirant guide, which is kind of like being a resident if you're a doctor. She can already work, but always under somebody's supervision. She's on the way, but not at the top yet. Out of 46 people in her year, only a handful are women, not even 5%. This is a man's world, tough, dangerous, physically demanding. And Karine is one of the few who actually makes it through. The numbers say it all. At that point, there are about 20 fully qualified female mountain guides in all of France. 20. Out of thousands. Less than 1%. Karine is on track to join that list, to prove she belongs. Her colleagues respect her, not because she's an Olympic champ, but because she works hard. She's honest. She doesn't act like some big shot, doesn't demand special treatment. She just gets the job done. By spring of 2009, she's just weeks away from full certification. Karine's almost there, just a little further, and she'll earn that final diploma. She'll be a fully qualified mountain guide, able to lead people on the toughest routes, officially, on her own. She's right at the finish line. Her new life is about to begin. Almost. And just to be clear, it's not like mountaineering suddenly popped up in her life out of nowhere. It's always been there, hanging around in the background. Between snowboard seasons, Karine would take off for the mountains, climb a bit, try out new routes. It was her hobby, her outlet, a way to stay in the high places even after the snow melted and the ski lifts shut down. But after 2006, everything changes. Mountaineering isn't just a hobby anymore. It's not a thrill on the side, it's becoming the main thing, the foundation. For Karine, this is all in, all the way. She's not just dabbling, she's digging deep, taking it seriously. She's mastering aid climbing, the art of creating your own holds when the rock gives you nothing. That means hammering in pitons, hanging ladders, and basically hauling yourself up on hardware. It's slow, it's technical. Pure strength doesn't cut it here. You need precision, patience, and an icy focus. Then there's the ice. Ice tools in both hands, crampons on your boots. You're literally biting into vertical ice. Every move has to be locked in. Make a mistake, and you fall. And falling on ice is no joke. There are night camps on the big walls. Imagine a portal edge, a hanging tent you rig right into the cliff. You sleep suspended hundreds of meters above the ground. Below you, nothing. Above, even more rock and ice, stretching sky high. The wind is shaking your shelter. The cold gets into your bones. But, come morning, you get up and keep climbing. Back in 2008, Karine makes it onto the women's national mountaineering team with the French Federation for Mountain Sports and Climbing. This team isn't built on old victories, but on what you're doing right now. Karine makes the cut. She's not just a former champ testing the waters, she's now part of the elite. That fall, there's an expedition to the Karakoram, Pakistan, the Biafo Glacier, the Solu Towers. We're talking Himalayas, not the Alps, where everything's bigger, taller, colder, and much more dangerous. Rescue is far away. Sometimes it might take days, if it's even possible at all. The team is all women, no guys, no special treatment. They carry their own gear, lead their own climbs, and they open 2 new routes, first ascents, meaning no one's been up there before. They're literally making history, their names becoming part of mountaineering lore. That trip changes everything. Suddenly, Karine has 2 identities. She's no longer just the ex-champ trying something new. She's the climber everyone's watching, the one everyone's expecting great things from. The Himalayas proved her switch to mountaineering wasn't just a phase. She found herself again, and kept moving forward. Now, think Chamonix Valley, the beating heart of mountaineering. It's where guides, climbers, and freeriders come together from all over the world. The vibe, the rules, the whole subculture, it's got its own language. Karine becomes a part of this world, not as a tourist, not as a celebrity passing through, but as a local. Here, they call true mountain people Chamonixards, the ones who really live for the peaks, know every trail, every glacier, every hut. They're up before dawn, off on routes, only coming back after the sun's dipped behind the summits. Karine is one of them now. She starts guiding clients. This is her job, her routine. Week after week, people show up in Chamonix, hand over their money, and say, "I want to reach the summit." Karine literally takes them by the hand, ropes them in, and leads them up. The Mont Blanc massif, highest point in the Alps, 4,810 meters tall. But Karine isn't guiding right on Mont Blanc itself. She specializes in mid-level routes, ones you can access from the cable car stations. Ride the lift up to 3,500 meters, then it's on foot, or crampons, from there. It makes sense. It's the smart, safe way to climb. This is exactly what most clients are looking for. Corporate climbs are becoming the new normal. Big companies book these trips for their employees. Team building with a view, motivation through challenge. Office workers swap their suits for climbing gear and head into the mountains. For many, it's their very first time. Plenty of them are scared. And for the guide, the job isn't just getting them to the top. It's about bringing everyone back down safely, every single person. Karine does this with total professionalism, calmly, no panic, no drama. She just leads the way. She shows people how to breathe at high altitude, where to place their feet on the ice, reminds them not to look down when things get scary. Her reputation isn't built on medals anymore. It's built on responsibility, on the fact that people trust her with their lives, and she delivers on that trust, time after time. And it works. Clients come back, they tell their friends, they leave glowing reviews. These days when people talk about Karine Ruby, they call her a reliable guide, not a champion, a guide, and for her, that means more than any gold medal ever could. Kind of a paradox, isn't it? In snowboarding, taking risks was part of the sport. Bordercross is all about contact, speed, crashes. 4 people packed onto a tight track, fighting for every inch. You have to be bold. But up here, it's different. Her colleagues describe her as careful, disciplined. For Karine, safety always comes first. She doesn't count on raw athletic talent, just solid technical skills, strict rules. Her coworkers say she never took unnecessary risks. The top priority is always the same, the safety of her clients. Not chasing records, not feeding ambition. People, the ones behind her rope, they all have to get home, in one piece. She's pretty skeptical about commercial climbing as a whole. The crowds flocking to fashionable peaks, lines on Everest, people who think paying a fee can buy them the summit. Karine sees the danger in that. She wants no part of it. She's taking a different route, the professional one. Responsible, low-key, just doing the work. Good, honest mountain work. So, it's spring 2009. And just to be clear, she's only weeks away from getting her full mountain guide certification. She's already allowed to take clients up on her own as a trainee guide. It's official. It's all above board. So Karen's out here, building up her experience. Every trip is another step toward that final qualification. It's May 29th, a Friday. Just another workday for a guide in Chamonix. Karen takes a group up Tour Ronde. That means the Round Tower. It stands at just under 3,800 meters, part of the Mont Blanc massif. This is a classic route, popular, a true favorite. Every season, hundreds of people climb it. Her job is to guide two clients, both men. One is 38, the other 27. They work for a big international oil company. This is a corporate event. Their employer organized the climb to build teamwork and shake up the daily grind. The route was chosen carefully. Tour Ronde is moderate, nothing too wild. Not Everest, not something extreme. It's just right for folks from an office background, no matter how green they are. The climb starts from Point Hellbronner. A cable car takes everyone up to about 3,500 meters. From there, it's all on foot, crossing the Glacier du Géant, a massive field of ice full of crevasses and snow bridges. Still, the path is well trodden. Hundreds pass through here each week. This is your standard guiding route. There's nothing unusual about it. A graduate guide with two clients, following the classic route. Everything's by the book. Everything's exactly as it should be. Karen has done trips like this dozens of times. She knows the path. She knows what to watch out for. She knows where to slow down and pay attention. The morning goes off without a hitch. The climb is smooth, no surprises. Her clients are keeping up just fine. Karen leads with confidence. The pace is right. Everyone's breathing is steady. Nobody's showing any sign of altitude sickness. No problems with technique. Just a solid, straightforward climb. The weather is holding up too. The sky is clear. You can see for miles. The wind's barely there, almost nothing. For mountain guides in Chamonix, this is a textbook workday. Nothing extreme. Nothing to turn back for. These are the conditions people dream of, the kind you get every week during the season. They reach the summit, 3,792 meters. They did it. They take photos with Mont Blanc in the background, grab a few minutes to rest, a quick snack, some water. Karine checks her watch. It's almost noon, time to start heading down. They retrace their steps, same route, across the Glacier du Géant. Makes sense. It's the safest option. Why look for a new trail when the old one works? The group starts descending, but by now, it's a different time of day. The sun is way higher in the sky, hitting the glacier head on. It's the tail end of May, and it's been unusually warm. By noon, the temperature is above freezing. Snow that was hard as rock that morning is starting to soften up. This isn't some kind of crisis. It's just how things work up here, but it does make the glacier trickier, less predictable. At about 3,300 meters, they're back on the main trail. The footprints from other teams are easy to spot. Dozens of people have hiked through here in the last few days. Up ahead is a snow bridge, a wide shelf of packed snow and ice covering a crevasse. You see these bridges all the time on glaciers. Some last for years, others can vanish in seconds. This one looks solid. Other groups crossed it today. Even this morning, their tracks are right there. Karen sees them. That's always reassuring. If the others made it over, the bridge should be good, right? That makes sense. Usually, but it's not a guarantee. A warm afternoon is doing its thing. The snow is losing its strength. The bridge is getting weaker on the inside, quietly, slowly. Maybe the bridge holds one person, maybe two. Maybe it lasts through 3 entire rope teams in a row, and then on the 4th, it just gives out. Or maybe it holds up for everyone all day long, and then an hour later, as the sun keeps beating down, it falls apart under the weight of just one person. It's a game of Russian roulette, but instead of a revolver, you've got rotten snow. And instead of a bullet, it's gravity waiting to happen. Nobody has any way of knowing when the trigger's going to go off. Karen steps up to the bridge. She looks it over. Other people's footprints, snow that looks solid. Everything seems fine. She takes the first step. The bridge holds. A second step. Still good. She keeps going. Her clients follow, a few meters behind, all tied together on the same rope. 3 people. 1 rope. Suddenly, the snow bridge starts to crack. The cracks turn into a roar. In an instant, the bridge collapses. A whole section just drops out beneath them. Karine goes first. Her clients are right behind her, all 3 clipped into the same rope, and all 3 fall at the exact same moment, dropping down into the crevasse below. It's not like tumbling down the side of a mountain. It's more like vanishing into a narrow, icy gap in the earth, a dark slot, walled in by blue ice. Instead of landing on snow, you hit hard, frozen ice at the bottom. It's as solid as concrete, maybe even harder. The fall takes just a few seconds. About 20 meters, maybe 25. The rescue team will measure it later, but for the people falling, numbers don't matter. All that matters is the feeling of flight, the cold, hitting the walls of the crevasse, and then the final impact at the bottom. The rope was supposed to catch the fall. That's its job. Protection. One person slips, the rope tightens, the others hold on, in theory. But that only works if someone stays up top, if there's a solid anchor. This time, there wasn't. The whole bridge gave way. All three dropped almost at once. The rope just hung limp in the gap. Emergency services get the call fast. It's Chamonix after all, and they're always ready. A helicopter is in the air within minutes, heading to the Glacier du Jean. The coordinates are clear, it's a popular route, and they know roughly where to look. The chopper finds the crevasse and drops the rescue team. They rappel in, 20-something meters down, into this icy split, narrow and freezing. At the bottom, they find all three. Karine Ruby is dead, 31 years old, Olympic champion, a mountain guide, right on the edge of earning her full certification, lying there, motionless. Next to her is her client, 38 years old, also dead. He came here for a corporate event, just wanted to see the mountains, maybe reach a summit. Instead, he ended up at the bottom of a crevasse. The third, 27 years old, is still breathing, but just barely. Critical condition, multiple injuries. The rescuers work fast, secure him, get him to the surface. Airlift to Geneva. Top doctors, everything possible is done. But the mountains have already claimed him. He dies that same night from his injuries. There's nothing the doctors can do. It was just too much. One snow bridge, one crevasse, 3 people, all gone. The entire team erased. No one survived. No one left to tell what happened in those last seconds. Just the facts, the rescue reports, and their bodies at the bottom. As soon as news of the accident hits the media, the story explodes. It's everywhere. French outlets are first. The headlines are huge and emotional. Olympic champion dies on Mont Blanc massif. Karine Ruby, Nagano gold medalist, dies in climb. Tragedy in the Alps, snowboard legend dead. The international sports press picks it up, running obituaries, remembering her as the most outstanding snowboarder in the world. Stories about Nagano, the first ever Olympic gold in women's snowboarding, 67 career victories, total dominance. Podium photos, bright smiles, medals, life before the tragedy. Everywhere, there's the same theme, the paradox. A star of border cross, a rough, risky sport, lost her life not on Everest, not on some extreme Himalayan route, but here on a classic alpine ascent. The cruel irony. The snowboard community is stunned. The next World Cup season opens with moments of silence. Athletes line up at the start wearing black armbands. Her pictures are everywhere in the stands. Mumu, the trailblazer, the one who showed women could rule this sport. Now she's gone. In Chamonix, people are coming together to remember. Mountain guides, athletes, folks from all over the valley. Some knew her in person. Others just watched her work, watched her learn, saw her become part of their world. There are candles, flowers, silence. The mountains, though, seem indifferent. They're just there, like they have been for thousands of years and will be for thousands more. After the tragedy, everything follows the usual procedure. The Haute-Savoie prefecture steps in, the gendarmerie. There are protocols, witness interviews, looking over the accident site, everything by the book. The initial verdict, a tragic accident, not a crime, not negligence, just an accident. Mountains can kill. It happens. It's part of what mountaineering is. Official statements are plain. The group was on a standard route, a well-trodden path, nothing odd about the safety measures. Karine played by the rules. Her clients had the right gear. The ropes were set up properly. Everything checked out. The prosecutor in Bonneville does a review, reads the paperwork, talks to Karine's colleagues, checks the weather that day, looks over the route, then closes the case. There's no crime, no charges, no one to blame. The snow bridge just collapsed. It happens. That's it. Case closed. But for the families, it's not that simple. It's now the year 2011, 2 years later. The family of one of the victims files a complaint against an unnamed person, basically arguing this was manslaughter by negligence. They demand a deeper investigation. They want answers. They want to know if this could have been prevented. The case reopens. Now, the questions get tougher. The company's role in organizing the climb. Who decided to put office workers on a glacier? Did anyone check if they were really ready for that kind of trip? Did they know what they were getting into? And the big question, Karine's status. She wasn't a fully certified guide yet. She was an aspirant guide. Allowed to take clients, yes. But technically, she was still in training. Was it really okay to send her out alone with two beginners across a glacier full of crevasses in the warmth of the afternoon without a senior guide watching over them? Now, investigators are looking at the details, the route and the tour setup, the client's experience level, Karine's official rank. 3 variables, 1 problem, and in the end, 3 lives lost. Should the clients have been told that their guide was still a trainee? A lot of questions don't get answered in public. The investigation drags on. Documents get reviewed. Experts give their take. But no final report ever surfaces, at least not in the open. No new charges, no court verdicts, no splashy headlines blaming anyone. The story just quietly fades away. Maybe there were backroom deals. Maybe the lawyers found a way to settle things quietly. Maybe investigators really didn't find anyone at fault. Officially, there's no information. What remains is just the hard fact. 3 people are gone, 1 snow bridge, 1 hidden crevasse, and a whole lot of questions no one has answered out loud. But this tragedy gets people talking. Not just mourning, but actually talking, digging deeper, asking the tough questions. Karine Ruby wasn't just any guide. She was an Olympic champion, a pro, careful, disciplined. And yet, she lost her life on a classic route. If it could happen to someone like her, it could happen to anyone. In the professional climbing community, conversations start. Guides get together. They go over the details. The time they started their descent, it was noon, a warm day, the snow softening. Should they have gone down earlier, or maybe waited for later? What about how you cross snow bridges? How do you check them properly? How much time should you spend evaluating them? Do you send people one by one, or stay roped together? The usual rope team on a glacier is 3 people. That's the standard. But is it the right way? The questions pile up. The answers, not so much. Because in the mountains, there are no hard and fast rules. There's data, there's experience, there's a gut feeling. But there are never any guarantees. There never have been. Back in 2010, ENSA, the National School for Mountain Sports, responds officially. They overhaul their training program. They make the selection process even tougher. More focus on professional development, more hours spent on safety skills, more realistic simulations of dangerous situations. The school does not want to repeat. They don't want another graduate to die on a classic route. And across the industry, the attitude towards trainees changes. Now, apprentices climb more often under supervision. Experienced mentors go with them on challenging routes, even if, on paper, the trainee is allowed to lead a group on their own. Guide companies start playing it safe. They set internal restrictions. Trainees don't go above a certain altitude without support. They don't lead groups onto technical glaciers by themselves. It's not the law, it's just the way things are done now. These unwritten rules, they work. Nobody wants another tragedy. No one wants a new headline, or another day in court. Popular media picks up the story. Articles start coming out about mountain safety, warning that even easy routes carry real risks. The case of Ruby becomes an example, a story, an experienced athlete, a future mountain guide. Still, she died. On a route that's considered doable. On a glacier where hundreds of people walk every season. Hidden dangers, invisible risks, snow bridges that hold for years and then collapse in a second. You can't predict it. You can't calculate it all. All you can do is lower the chances, but you can never eliminate them. After her death, her image becomes more defined, almost iconic. Karine Ruby turns into a symbol, a rare combination. 2 extreme worlds, snowboarding and mountaineering. She made it to the top of both. Literally, colleagues remember her humility. They bring up that word all the time, humble. An Olympic champion who never asked for special treatment. She would stand in line with everyone else, carry her own backpack, train the same way as all the other students. In guide school, no one singled her out, because she didn't want to be, and everyone points to her choice. She could have rested on her achievements, signing sponsorship deals, opening ski schools, commenting on TV, an easy life, recognition, comfort. But she chose to start over. from scratch, in a field where her name meant nothing, where your medals didn't matter. What mattered was whether you could lead a rope team safely across a glacier. For younger athletes, she became proof. A woman can be on top in sports. 67 wins, it wasn't a coincidence. And yes, a woman can build a career in high-altitude mountaineering, even in a field where almost everyone else is a man. Karine showed it's possible, not just in theory, but for real. She actually did it, right up until her very last day. In interviews and articles, there's one word people keep using to describe her: sunny, joie de vivre. That sheer joy for life. The same thing the Prime Minister brought up when he spoke about her after she was gone. Karine had this amazing way of balancing things. She was totally focused and serious in the mountains, concentrated, responsible. But when she was with people, she was light, smiling, open. None of that heaviness you sometimes see in professional athletes. She just felt alive, right up to the end. Her story has become almost legendary, a lesson. Even the most experienced climbers aren't immune. Even the strongest can fall. The risks hidden in the mountains don't care who you are. Olympic champion or newbie, it doesn't matter. Certified guide or grad student, the snow bridge will collapse the same way for everyone. Back in Bonneville, the town she grew up in, they named a school after her, the Karine Ruby College. Every day kids walk past those letters on the wall. Some know her story, some just see a name on a sign. But the name lives on, carved in stone, cast in metal, part of the building itself. In Chamonix, one of the snowboard cross tracks is unofficially named after her. The riders know it. Some features in the snow park are tied to her nickname, Moumoun, not because the city declared it, but because the community chose it. That's where she used to ride. It's where she really belonged. The track remembers. Documentaries keep coming back to her life. Any article about snowboarding has to mention Nagano, 1998. That first gold medal, Karine Ruby. Stories about mountaineering talk about her as someone who moved between worlds. She was this outstanding athlete who died in the mountains. Those two facts are always connected, like two sides of the same coin. Olympic organizations still publish stories about her legacy. She really defined an era, the time when snowboarding stepped out of being a subculture and became a real sport. She was part of that beginning, right when it was all taking shape, and her contribution's been recognized, officially and forever. There were even years when mountain film festivals in Grenoble and other places set aside entire screenings just for her. At climbers' gatherings, her name always came up first. Memory, respect, recognition for what she tried to do, and almost managed to achieve. For the climbing community, what happened on the Tour Ronde is a harsh lesson. Even the easy routes can be dangerous. Even the familiar paths can give way. A snow bridge that's held up for hundreds can suddenly break under your feet. No guarantees. There never have been, there never will be. Karine proved that with her life. To most people, she's a symbol, someone who reached the very top in every sense. Olympic gold, 67 victories, fame, recognition. But she didn't stop there. She pushed further, into a whole new world, one just as risky, maybe even more so. She started over, learned, worked, tried to build a new life. In the mountains, among ice and snow, in the place where she was born, where she truly felt alive. And she died there too, at 31 years old, on a classic route, on a beautiful day, doing her job, leading people to the summit, doing it professionally, responsibly, and the right way. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and let us know what you think about this story in the comments.